Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines we have for you. Bitcoin all-time highs headed our way. How about gold as well? And hey, how about XRP, ladies and gentlemen? Let's talk about that. How about this conversation? Currency devaluations, but it's who's talking about it that's going to blow your mind. Senate CBDC bill, we got to stop it, ladies and gentlemen. You need to know everything about it. We got CEOs Larry Fink from BlackRock and so much more. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and digperspectives.com for exclusive content. Right now, $2.63 trillion market cap. The market is up 1%. 66,000 slightly over for Bitcoin. 3,300 plus for Ethereum. 104.7 billion market cap for Tether. XRP at the number 7 spot as USDC takes the number 6 spot here. 58 cents for XRP. We're off by 1.4 in the 24. We're off by 6.1 in the 7-day. Range of price very quickly, ladies and gentlemen. It's 58.43 right now. We see XRP is on the bottom of the range, ranging between 58 and 61 cents. We'll keep an eye on it. I'd like to see it turn around, and I know you would too, and I believe that it will. This is just a moment. This is not everything. This is just a moment. So let's take a look at this. We're starting right here with Cathie Wood. And I want you to hear her talk about one of the catalysts for the flight to safety of these Bitcoin spot ETFs. It's currency devaluations that nobody's talking about.
Can you explain, and we were debating it last couple of days about Bitcoin, Joe and Becky, back in New York.
Yeah,
we were all
I've heard.
been together. You've seen it. What do you think is happening? I mean, we saw Bitcoin get up to $70-something thousand, drop down to $66,000. I was making the argument that it has been very tied to the NASDAQ. It's been very tied to the markets. And as a result, it is more likely a function of liquidity and speculation than it is a function of what the Federal Reserve is going to do. Even though the Federal Reserve is sort of been moving the markets. What's your analysis of why it's moved the way it has?
Okay, up dramatically.
Right.
You have the ETFs. There's something else going on around the world. There are currency devaluations taking place that people are not talking about. The Nigerian naira is down 50-60% in the last 9 months. Egypt just devalued by 40%. Argentina continuing to devalue. I think this is a flight to safety, believe it or not, taking place. A hedge against devaluation, a hedge against a loss of purchasing power and wealth. That's very important. And we saw this even here last year in the United States. Regional banks imploded. Right. Bitcoin went up 40%. Bitcoin does not have counterparty risk. I think, and we're putting out a piece in the next few weeks, which is, this is both, get this, a risk on asset. And so you talk about the NASDAQ.
The risk on.
But it is risk off. I remember we got in at $250 when Greece was threatening to leave the euro, right?
But is that folks that are speculating about currency, or is that folks in Nigeria and in Greece and other places saying, I got to get my money out of this currency and move it themselves? Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh, yes. I think this is an insurance policy against rogue regimes or against just horrible fiscal and monetary policies.
Which is really where we are right now. I mean, Cathie's got it spot on. And look, you know, Cathie might not be aware of who all of us are, but I tell you what, we've been talking about currency devaluations and mainly the U.S. dollar. And maybe that's why we're seeing charts like this from XRP Crypto that new all-time high could come for Bitcoin in April or May. Remember, it's well over $1 trillion market cap at the moment. You can see the next cycle push us up into the 150K range. Check that out. But that's not all. To go along with the currency devaluation conversation that's extremely real, gold is actually pushing all-time highs. XRP Crypto called for gold at 2,300. It hit 2,280. I got to give that to him because I don't remember anybody else saying it would happen. I'll give you that. As far as I'm concerned, you can crown XRP Crypto. Nailed it. I'll give you the $20 difference. Next target, 3,000 by the end of 2024. I'm trying to get gold too. Look, that's why I'm telling you guys right now, you don't have to do it. But that's why I'm telling you precious metals investments, Miles Franklin is the great place to get any kind of metal you want. They've got it at the best prices. But in order to get the best prices, you need to do two things. One, email them, info@milesfranklin.com, information under the video, and put DigGold in the subject box, DIG Gold, for the best prices. Protect yourself, your family, and your portfolio. XRP eyes a meteoric rise in engagement of market participants as the XRP volume moved and surged 80%. House of XRP says same narrative 7 years straight. You know what? It's not. I know it feels that way, House of XRP, but you know what? It's not. So many people said it would be a slow and steady thing. It hasn't. It's been flat and stagnant for 5 years, right? And that's really where we've been. But I think it speaks to the understanding that when something is designed to complement and work within the financial system, you're going to need the regulators and the legislative bodies to give you that finality and that clarity in order to introduce it in full or in scale inside of that financial system. That's what we're waiting for. Make no mistake about it. Meanwhile, the Fed better be looking for some kind of a solution. Jim Rickards reminds all of us that the Federal Reserve had an operating loss of $114.3 billion in 2023, largest loss on record. He said, I had dinner with a Fed governor once who told me central banks don't need capital. I told her, we'll see what the public thinks about that. Then this is a reminder that there's a new bill introduced in the Senate to ban a police state central bank digital currency. Happily banned includes any bank intermediated CBDC where the government keeps control. Of course, this ban won't pass because the Uniparty desperately wants the surveillance and the control they can only get from a central bank digital currency. Shout out to Peter St. Onge for that. You know, that's the truth, and there's the threat, right? But the Fed knows they need to do something because they can't continue to support what is happening right now around the world with the money printing. I know everyone wants to portray like it could just be endless, but it can't. That's why geopolitical movements are taking place around the world, like the growth and expansion of BRICS coalition, creating their own new financial system and platform and payment system, and intend to introduce their own currency that serves as a world reserve currency at some point. The writing is on the wall. There's enough elements and catalysts that have really come from all directions, whether it's the money printing, which adds to the debt, or the geopolitical shifts to create other alternative payment systems, the movement to de-dollarize from the US dollar and to cause and inflict hyperinflation on its citizens back home. These are all factors that must be dealt with at some point. But I certainly don't want to see a CBDC that's issued and released by the government directly to citizens or the Federal Reserve. Because Peter St. Onge is exactly right, and that's all they want is the surveillance, the control, and the ability to manipulate each and every one of us. And if we give them the opportunity to create a central bank digital currency from the federal government and directly issue it to us, we're screwed. Even Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, understands that they need something. They need something else. Listen to what he says.
And it may be a Bitcoin or maybe something else that has developed. Some form of a digitized currency is going to play a bigger role in the future. And it may be a Bitcoin or maybe something else that has developed. Bitcoin is still a very small market. And it can move in very large increments with small movements of money. This asset category is so small relative to other asset categories. It could be another store of wealth, but right now it's still untested. It has huge volatility of moving in 5 and 6% increments with small dollars investments moving it. And so for anything like that to be truly successful, it's going to have a broadening of the market.
Going to have a broadening of the market. Well, you know what, Larry Fink? We know that it costs too much to do it with Bitcoin and it takes too long to settle, but I'm not down on Bitcoin. You know, I got some exposure to it, but I'll tell you this, there's plenty of other assets out here, and I'm pretty sure that Larry Fink's aware, knowing full well that Robert Mitchnick used to be at Ripple and is now the head of digital assets at BlackRock. I'm pretty sure he's got Larry's ear about the power of Ripple and the digital asset XRP. Not to mention this reminder that we know ISO20022 is a payment system that's been around for more than a decade, but it's been chosen as the standardization protocol and messaging system to be used to update and to begin to work in the coding of digital assets so they can move the actual value with the payment and the messaging system and that rich data that goes with it. And we know that the catalyst here to do these things is really said best by Bob Way. Shout out to him. Anders shares it, says, worth post again, Bob Way, former Ripple employee, ISO20022. But just to clarify, 20022 is way bigger than you might think at first. The reason this 20022 transition is extremely helpful to Ripple's bank sales, the team is this meant that every bank is required to implement new technology. And we know that banks don't like to do that. It's way bigger than you might think at first. It replaces the previous SWIFT standards, MT and MX, and adds a lot of other things, like the ability to code and move digital assets like CBDCs, stable coins, and other digital assets and cryptos. That's what we're talking about. It says right here, the team and every bank is required to implement new technology in the banking world. Banks hate to change an already working process. Change can introduce new problems, which means bankers get fired. This is happening. SWIFT is doing this. We reported on this heavily yesterday. This is going down. This is happening. And you might realize just how important Ripple and XRP are to the financial system when you understand that there have been measures taken in order to have Ripple validators housed underground bunker in Switzerland. That's how important this is. And I bet you dimes to donuts that they got validators and nodes all over those Starlink satellites, which is our new internet. I don't know what else to say. You know, we're looking at things in a down market like today. I am super bullish, and you don't have to be. Like I said earlier this morning, not everybody has the same appetite for risk. Not everybody has the same threshold for patience. And it looks to me, at this stage of the game, it is patience that becomes the greatest attribute of any investor. Bitcoin analyst says XRP to skyrocket 859% to $6. Now this aligns, this is a guy named Mikey who's a Bitcoin analyst. You know what it probably took for that guy to admit that he sees this on a chart? God bless him. But we know that this falls in line with Eggrag Crypto and others like Dark Defender. By the way, Dark Defender I think was just sick and he's doing well and getting better. So if you have a chance and you're on Twitter, go wish him well and send him well wishes just like all of us have done. He does so much for all of us. All right, not financial advice of me or anyone else. I'm going into the freedom zone, ladies and gentlemen. And you're going to want to come with me today because today we're going to tell you what the mainstream media does not want you to know. And you're going to love it. Every single bit of it. Come on in. All right.